Talking with famous people.
Hello, host Eric here of Talking with Famous People. And if you watched a couple of my earlier videos today, you may have already learned a couple of things about being fancy, a couple of things about being a little bit more coquettish. These are both elements in the larger elegance package that Talking with Famous People is offering today, maybe tomorrow, who knows. Well, one of the things that we realized, is that here Talking with Famous People, the corporate bigwigs, they called down, they said, you forgot a key element, and that's obfuscation, that's density, it's turgidity. Now, I'm going to answer the question that the title of this video asks right off the bat. Okay, so that if you're just here for the answer, you can leave right away. You don't have to wait around or anything, all right? The answer is you're not turgid enough. I'm going to show you how to be turgid though, so if you got a little bit of patience for me, I'll get through this quickly. Being turgid means more swollen in your prose. You need the language you say with your mouth and you write with your hand to be denser, more difficult to understand, more successful at obfuscating what you're actually trying to say. So, how do we do that? Number 10. First of all, take on the bearing of a legislator. Now, I'm talking to you pretty straight right now, but hopefully by the end of this, I'll be demonstrating more of what we're supposed to be doing. So I'm going to do number 10 first, take on the bearing of the legislator. I'm going to go Southern legislature, so I'm going to say, and I'm going to pick a subject matter, a personal issue that's important to me as a legislator, and that issue is going to be washerwomen, the banning thereof, and I'll be from the South, so first thing you want to do in getting yourself to be more turgid is to muster that spirit. Senator, Congressman, do I have the floor? I do. Let me tell you today about a problem we face, namely the washerwomen, and what we as legislators can do to address this difficult and persistent plague upon our society of women who wash. Okay, so there's my legislator. Now, let's move on to number 9. Maybe your legislator is different. Maybe you're more of a liberal barber boxer kind of legislator. I don't know. I'm not even going to demo it. I'll let you come up with your own legislator. You can even pick your state. I pick Rhode Island, though. I got that one. So only one other person can be a senator from Rhode Island. Okay. I know that's not in the South. I moved there, okay? Anyway, number 9, you need to engage, if you're doing writing in particular, an ongoing meta-narrative with your reader. And it should sound like this, So let's say you're making a point, okay? So you're making a simple point that says, economic sanctions are bad because if we cause harm to Russia's economy, then they'll be less able to thrive on legitimate means and be forced more to turn towards rogue nation status. Let's say you are going to say that point, and you do say that point, but that's not turgid enough. You need to wrap it around some other thing and wrap something else around that. So the way you do that is you start by going, so what I just did there was I defined essentially the scope of what I'm going to be talking about, namely economic sanctions, Russia, and the relationship between what we do with economic sanctions and what happens to Russia is or is not causal. Okay? I want to explain this point really clearly. That the correlation that I'm trying to establish there is one half of the equation, but the causal link that I'm going to establish later is going to explain how that correlative relationship is actually representative of something more meaningful. Okay, so that ongoing meta-narrative is good. Now, if you're writing something like literature, what you want to do is develop an affectation where you speak directly to the reader using some sort of address, like dearest reader, or most indulgent listener, or reader. You're probably going to go with reader. You could go, you could begin with some sort of grand scheme where you name this. I view you not as a reader, dear friend, but rather as a fellow traveler along this journey this story I'm telling today, like that kind of a thing, right? So, and then as you get deeper into the book, have the book become more and more about the meta narrative between you and the dear reader, right? Dearest reader, whose dearness is surpassed only by the dearness of air and water, food, and everything good in the universe. May I speak again of your dearness? And how wonderful it is that you are reading these passages now, and how you and I have become such good friends, what with me addressing you and you reading these addresses. Okay, so it's a good way to add a little turgidity to your novels if that's what you're looking to do. Now, let's move ahead and go on to what number am I on? Oh, number 8. Cite things people already know. If you're doing a scholarly paper, cite everything. So, if you're saying something like, we administered the questionnaire to the participants. Cite that. So you're going to say, you're going to have one of your collaborators in the project, for example, write a blog post explaining how you just did that today. And then you're going to cite that blog post, okay? Now, in that blog post, make sure your colleague also cites your citation of the blog post. So it's a circle, okay? Now, and make sure you cite even the most obvious of things. So if you were to say, like in an essay that you have to write for school, for example, and you want to add turgidity to your essay. Now let's say your essay is supposed to be about how Huck Finn displays the character trait of rebellion, okay? So when you say something like, on page 72, when Huck Finn jumped onto the riverboat, then you're going to put a citation on that, and you're going to cite an article explaining that riverboats existed, okay? I want you to do that for every noun in the entire paper. Make sure you do that, and it will be essentially unreadable at that point. But don't do footnotes, though, actually. Do in-body footnotes within the body of the text, okay? So don't put it at the bottom. Or, I mean, you could put it at the bottom, but you have like 2 lines of words, and then the rest would all be footnotes. Okay, so number 7. This is an important one. This is one that I do all the time. You have to use words that you make up as though everyone should know what they mean, okay? It's very important. So if you make up a word such as delineate. I'm delineating. Is that what it is? Okay, I'm delineating between X and Y. That's not a word. What is that thing? No, it is a word. It means to simultaneously delineate and iterate. What? Yeah, delineate. Why do you say that goddamn word? Okay, yeah. So use words you make up as though everyone should know what they already mean. You'll be amazed at how nobody asks you what they mean.
Talking with famous people.